Look at this photograph of Istiklal Caddesi, one of Istanbul's most famous streets, packed with crowds alongside its iconic red tram. If you sat in a nearby apartment with a group of locals, you would very likely notice a common thread. Almost everyone in the room has, at some point, smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. It is a perfect place to observe how stubbornly humans get trapped by a habit, even when they know the behavior is actively harming them. This structural diagram breaks down why those habits are so incredibly hard to shake. It shows that every human behavior is actually driven by two distinct layers. On the top level, you have a specific modern surface craving, like the urge to check your phone or eat a particular food. But holding that craving up is a much deeper foundational layer of evolutionary motive. As the highlighted nodes in the bottom layer show, these deep motives are tied directly to ancient survival mechanics. We are biologically wired to conserve energy, obtain food and water, reduce uncertainty, and win social acceptance. Your modern brain absolutely did not evolve with a biological desire to smoke nicotine, check Instagram, or play video games. Those are modern surface-level manifestations. What your brain actually craves is the fulfillment of those massive, ancient survival metrics lurking below the surface. Look at any habit-forming product, and you'll see it maps perfectly to an old biological need. Scrolling through Facebook is just a highly optimized tool to connect and bond with a tribe. Posting a photo online is a way to win social acceptance. Playing a video game achieves status and prestige. Our current vices are simply new delivery systems for ancient desires. Once you successfully associate an action with solving an evolutionary problem, your brain keeps coming back. Understanding this explains why relying on sheer willpower to break a bad habit rarely works. To dismantle a bad habit, we have to examine the hidden mechanism of the mind: prediction. Day to day, life feels reactive. Something happens to you, and you react to it. But in reality, your brain is continuously guessing and predicting what will happen in the next moment. This flow logic diagram illustrates the exact neurological loop driving your behavior. First, your brain perceives a raw cue in your environment. Instantly, that cue enters a simulation, a subconscious evaluation based entirely on your past experiences, and outputs a behavioral prediction about what action you should take next. Notice how the same identical input cue splits into two entirely different results. Two people can look at the exact same pack of cigarettes. For one person, the internal simulation predicts stress relief, outputting a green urge to smoke. For the other person, the simulation predicts a foul smell and a cough, outputting a red urge to step away. The environmental trigger is exactly the same. The internal conditioning dictates the action. In this framework, a craving is not an external virus that infects you. A craving is merely the perceived gap between your current emotional state and the state you predict you want to be in. Analytical. This is neuroscientist Antonio Damasio. His clinical research proves that emotions are the ultimate decision makers in the brain. He found that when a patient's emotional faculties are impaired, they literally lose the ability to make choices. Without feelings to mark a prediction as good or bad, humans have no biological signal telling them what to pursue and what to avoid. The true cause of your bad habit is not the cue itself. It is the subconscious prediction your brain makes that performing the action will successfully fix your internal emotional state. If the prediction is the root cause, then breaking a bad habit requires a targeted strike on your internal logic. You have to systematically dismantle the false predictions your brain has built around the cue. Consider this lit cigarette. Smokers routinely predict that taking a drag will calm their nerves and relieve their anxiety, but the physiological reality of chemical dependency is the exact opposite. Smoking does not relieve your nervous system. It actively destroys it while spiking your heart rate. To sever the habit, you must execute a strict cognitive reframe. You have to consciously and repeatedly feed your brain the correct data. You remind yourself, this action doesn't make me social, and it does not reduce stress. Once the expectation of a positive benefit is entirely removed from your brain's simulation, the biological urge collapses. If you no longer expect an action to bring you a reward, you have no reason to perform it. The ultimate way to break a bad habit is to make it totally unattractive. You achieve this by exposing the deep mathematical lie in your brain's prediction algorithm. We can apply this exact same mechanism in reverse. We can actively hack our predictive processing to make difficult, beneficial habits highly attractive. Notice the structural simplicity of this tech shift. It starts by taking the heavy obligation of "I have to" and replacing it with the empowering opportunity of "I get to." Instead of predicting exhaustion by telling yourself, "I have to go run," you reframe the simulation. "I get to build my endurance and get faster." Instead of viewing a budget as a limitation, you realize that living below your current means directly increases your future purchasing power. You aren't restricting yourself. You get to buy financial freedom. You can solidify this with a motivation ritual. Find a short, simple action you inherently enjoy, like listening to a specific song, or taking 3 deep breaths and smiling. Then perform that exact routine immediately before the difficult habit you want to establish. Over time, the positive emotion of the pre-routine overwrites the dread of the hard task. Eventually, simply putting your headphones on or taking a deep breath becomes an automatic trigger that your brain associates with intense focus. Habits are just the learned paths our brains take to feel good. By consciously taking control of our predictions, we can engineer our minds to automatically crave the things that make us better.